easier than asking for like forgiveness. If they would have permission.
All right, are we
Let's
close
do it.
enough to
Let's
begin?
do it, yes.
All right, we'll begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome. Today is September 19th. Here at the Shawnee County Board of County Commissioners, I'm Aaron Mays. I represent District 3. I'm currently serving as chairman. On my left is Commissioner Bill Rippon, representing District 1, and on my right is Commissioner Kevin Cook, representing District 2. Good morning to both of you.
Morning. Morning.
Madam Clerk, first item, please.
First item is a consent agenda, item 3.
We have a rather large consent agenda today. My count is 17 items. If there is no objection, I would move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 4, new business, A, County Clerk number 1, consider all voucher payments.
Okay, we have 2 different weeks of vouchers here. For the first week, under District Court in Preva, Inc., $14,809.32 is for software subscription for court's website. Under Facility Management, paid with ARPA and SLFRF funds. Cine and Company, Inc., $294,452.50 is for renovations to 707 Quincy. Under General Expenses, Cine, oops, I just read that one. It's a different project for Cine. Under General Expenses, Cine and Company, Inc., $64,071 is for repairs to parking lot at East Courthouse entrance. Under Lake Shawnee, Heinen Repair Services, Inc., $13,760 is for the purchase of commercial zero-turn mower. Total vouchers as of September 14th is $974,369.95. The other week's vouchers, under Building Maintenance, Gardner Roofing, Inc., $23,540 is for new roof for Big Gauge Shelter. Midwest Coating, Inc., totaling $19,769 is for repairs to roofs at Lake Maintenance and Administrative Buildings. Under Bridge Project, King Construction Company, Inc., $207,875.97 is for bridge on Southwest 61st Street over 6 Mile Creek. Also for King Construction, Inc., $198,310.64 is for bridge on Southeast Laurel Road over Tecumseh Creek. Under Solid Waste Recycling, Raring Pacific Company, totaling $44,384.40 is for refuge recycled totes. Total vouchers as of September 16th, 2022 is $1,962,544.47. If there's no questions or comments, I would move to approve both vouchers.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item A2, consider correction orders.
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item B, Department of Corrections number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-267-2022, third amendment to the food service agreement with Aramark Correctional to provide meals for inmates and juveniles from October 1, 2022 through September 30, 2023.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Phelps, Department of Corrections. This is the final year in a 4-year contract with Aramark to provide food service. And this is just the amendment to adjust the per meal cost for fiscal 22 to 23. I'll be happy to answer any of the questions you have.
Questions?
I'll move for approval.
Second.
Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Commissioner.
Tim. Next item, please.
Item B2, consider approval of tuition reimbursement for one Department of Corrections employee in the amount of $5,071.
Good morning, Commissioners. Brian Cole, Shawnee County Department of Corrections. This is a request that was submitted by one of our employees. She is a longstanding employee. She is currently a sergeant, going to school full-time and working full-time at the Department of Corrections. She is very invested into the Department of Corrections. She is taking classes to continue to build her skills, which come in more of research, report writing, leadership, and things like that that go right in line with our vision and our goals at the Department of Corrections. This is something we've done before at the Department of Corrections and is used throughout Shawnee County. This is a person here that's very dedicated, going to be with the Department of Corrections and meets the qualifications. I did meet with Director Angela Lewis regarding this, and money is available in our budget for this. And I'd stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Okay, motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item C, Planning Department, number 1, consider approval of the request to create and fill a Deputy Director of Planning position with funding allocated in the 2022 Planning Department budget.
Good morning, Commissioners. Joni Thanani, Director of Planning. Here this morning to ask to create a new position in our department as a Deputy Director. Part of this comes from the fact that our long-standing zoning and planning administrator is set to retire in December 16th exactly. And she has worked for Shawnee County in this department for 18 years, prior to which she also worked for the City of Topeka Planning Department and then also the joint Shawnee County City Planning Department. So she's been in this area for some 40 years. We are going to lose a great asset to the planning department. What I'm hoping to do is in turn hire a deputy director to take over her duties, but at the same time add on some additional duties that include being able to come to the Board of County Commissioner meetings, help with planning commission meetings, stand in my place if I'm unable to do any duty, and then also supervise employees, other actions that would be fitting for a deputy director. And we are able to fit this under our budget based on the way that everything has fallen this year. We anticipate no issues whatsoever. And so if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer those.
Any questions for Joey?
So you're creating a new position, but is that eliminating?
It would eliminate the planning and zoning administrator position. And so we would still maintain at this stage, we have 4 positions in the office, and so that would maintain that. One is vacant, and we'll keep that one vacant for the time being and into next year likely.
Okay.
All right. Any other questions? All right, great. I'll move for approval.
Second.
A motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Joan. Next item, please.
Item D, Parks and Recreation, number 1, consider authorization and execution of Amendment Number 1, Contract C-269-2022, Shoshone County Contract C-189-2022 with KBS Contractors for the design and implementation of Area B of the design build at the Lake Shawnee Campground. Funding in the amount of $844,083 is provided by the American Rescue Plan Act of 2021, state and local fiscal recovery funds, ARPA Project 2021-33.
Good morning, Commissioners. Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. So you'll remember back in February of this year, the commission approved us moving forward with the campground renovation project. As we've gone through this process, prices have gone up significantly. And so our original estimates that were done over a year and a half ago are not quite where they ought to be. So we are going to be sort of phasing this project out, and we're asking to move forward with Area B today. That would be a little over $800,000. If for point of reference, if you were to pull into the campground and take a right immediately, where you start the Winter Wonderland tour, to give you a reference, that's Area B. And so we'll be adding new sites there. They're pull-through sites. They're much larger than the sites we have currently. This would, again, just be the first phase of this project, and then we'll continue to negotiate the rest of the project and the price as we move forward. So be happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Questions for Tim?
I have none.
Okay. Great. I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item D2, consider authorization and execution of contract C270-2022 with Midwest Coating, Inc. to utilize the Interlocal Purchasing System Program for repairs to the Hillcrest Community Center roof, funding in the amount of $128,170 plus bonding, $1,576.58 is available from the Building Maintenance 3R Fund.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Boyd, Parks and Recreation. We are submitting this contract for your approval to get the roof at Hillcrest replaced. We've been using Midwest Coating for a lot of repairs here lately. They've done a couple of replacements for us. We're fully confident in their abilities and ask for your approval.
All right. Any questions?
I'd move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item D3, consider authorization and execution of contract C271-2022 with Midwest Coating, Inc. to utilize the Interlocal Purchasing System Program for repairs to the Lake Shawnee Maintenance Shop roof. Funding in the amount of $29,565 is available through the Building Maintenance 3R Fund.
Commissioners, this is just a continuation of the contracts for roof replacement. We need to do some work at the maintenance facility at the lake. Questions?
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item E, Elections Office. Number 1, consider approval of final request to utilize approximately $56,552.14 in contingency funds for building guttering replacement, tree trimming removal, and a server rack due to the May 17th, 18th water leak.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jake Fisher, Shawnee County Elections Office. As the clerk just stated, yes, we are requesting $56,552.14. The bulk of that is for the new guttering for the building, which will be an 8-inch commercial guttering. That amount is $53,475, and then for the trimming of 2 trees, removal of a 3rd tree, and then also for a server rack. I'd stand for any questions.
Any questions?
I'll move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Jake. Next item, please.
Item F, Solid Waste. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C272-2022, a 3-year agreement with Municipal Media Corp. DBA Recycle Coach for online notifications and text messaging communication services beginning January 1, 2023. The first year cost of $5,000 is funded from the solid waste operational budget, which is user-funded and not taxpayer-supported.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. Everybody knows what Recycle Coach is. It's a online program. You can sign up on a webpage. You can get weekly reminders for what day your service is and what day your recycle is, and it reminds me all the time. The existing service that we have now, that service ends next June. They are doing away with that option, and in place, they are rescoping how they're doing business. So we have been getting a great service for only $200 a month for about the past 5-6 years. So this is a 3-year contract, basically the same service. It has some enhanced capabilities, which we'll be rolling out immediately upon signature. And this contract, it is a escalating price in nature, so $5,000 for this first year, $5,700 for the second, and third year, $6,500, all paid out of the solid waste fund. I budgeted this going into next year, and it is no tax dollars used, so subject to your questions, gentlemen.
Any questions?
No. I'd move for approval.
Second.
Motion has been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item G, Health Department, number 1, consider approval for the Health Department to apply for the National Association of County and City Health Officers Medical Research Reserve Corps Respond, Innovate, Sustain, and Equip Award, Tier 1, in the amount of $25,000.
Good morning, Commissioners. Craig Barnes, Shawnee County Health Department. Can't say it any better than the clerk did today. We're looking for your approval to apply for a Medical Reserve Corps funding grant in their Tier 1 for the amount of $25,000. This will be used to equip our Medical Reserve Corps volunteers for rapid deployment to emergencies in our community and pay for 10% of the salary of our MRC coordinator that is housed at the Health Department for our county and for assistance for the Northeast region. So I stand for any questions you may have.
Any questions for Craig?
I'll move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you,
Thanks, Craig.
Commissioners.
Next item, please.
Item H, Counselor, number 1, consider approval of request to issue an RFQ for grant writing services.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jim Crowell, Shawnee County Counselor. As the clerk stated, we're seeking your approval to issue a request for qualifications for a grant writer to assist us in obtaining grants, if possible, for design and/or construction services for an interchange at Auburn and one in southeast Topeka. If that's the decision, right now, we're going to simply issue the RFQ. Any contract that we would draft and arrive at as a result of that process would come back before the three of you for approval.
Okay. Any questions?
I would move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Jim. Next item, please.
Item I, Weed Department, number 1, consider approval of request to utilize the government services agreement contract with Heister Yale Group, Inc. to place an order for the purchase of a forklift.
Good morning, Commissioners. John Landon, Shawnee County Weed Department. As the clerk said this morning, this is something we discussed back in budget hearings to replace our forklift. We'd like to get an early start on this. It has a 680-day build date from them, so that puts delivery about the middle of 2024. So
Wow.
I'd be happy to answer any questions you might have.
Any questions?
Is there another avenue we can go where we can get one quicker than that?
Well, we've done some research, and I don't know that it'd be any quicker. It's about the same amount of time. Public Works fleet mechanics are very familiar with the Yale product for servicing and repair, and they're locally here, just over off 24 Highway is kind of the reason why we chose Heister Yale.
What are you planning on doing with the old one? I know it's sort of limping along right now.
It is, we plan on purple waving it
Okay.
as soon as the new one's delivered.
Okay, great. Any other questions? All right,
I'll move for approval.
Okay.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Cook, seconded by Commissioner Rippon. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item J, Facilities Maintenance. Number 1, consider authorization and execution of contract C-276-2022, a sole source agreement with Minnesota Elevator Incorporated to modernize the existing elevator at the new Administrative Services Building to bring the elevator up to current code standards. The cost is $130,769 to be funded by ARPA SLFRF funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Nelda Henning, Director of Facilities Management. As the clerk has read, this is a sole source request to modernize the elevator at 707 through our contract with MEI. MEI has the current maintenance contract on all of our elevators. They've reviewed the elevator, and to put it under contract for maintenance, they are requesting it be modernized. That's why we're going for a sole source request. We feel the price is in line with anyone else that we would contract with. And this has been ran past the Spark Committee, and they recommend approval. I stand for any questions.
Any questions?
I would move for approval.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item, please.
Item K, Sheriff's Office, number 1, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding a sole source request to purchase a van for prisoner transport services from Aristocrat Motors at a cost of $42,899 utilizing budgeted funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Danny Lottridge, Sheriff's Office. So we're requesting permission to purchase this 2022 Honda Odyssey. This will be utilized in our day-to-day operations for our Fugitive Warrants Division. And then for those last moment notices we get when our transport service is not available, this will also dub and have sufficient room for us to do prisoner transports, mostly in the state, maybe occasionally out of state. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Danny, is this gonna need, any upfitting?
Yes.
Okay, it is, all right.
Yep.
Any other questions? No?
Guess so.
Okay.
I was thinking about it.
All right, I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you. Next item, please.
Item K2, acknowledge receipt of correspondence from Sheriff Hill regarding a request to purchase a 5-year Motorola radio and device management service contract, Contract C-269-2022. The Topeka Police Department is to pay the Sheriff's Office for the initial $107,267, and when the Sheriff's Office will pay $57,600 each year for 2 years through, years 2 through 5, using budgeted funds, if they get their budget approved. Oh, I didn't throw that in.
I didn't hear anything. Good morning, Commissioners. Danny Lottridge, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office. I'm going to ask Director Rabb to come up and speak on behalf of this item for me.
Good morning, Commissioners. Jeremy Rabb, Shawnee County Sheriff's Office, Director of Emergency Communications. The radio management service software is designed to streamline the process for our folks in our radio maintenance shop to take care of the radios that we have throughout this county. We have thousands of them. Presently, they have to touch each radio individually, which can take 20 to 30 minutes. That times thousands of radios throughout the county can really add up. This software will allow them to sit behind the desk, send out updates at the push of a button, and probably reduce what would take months down to hours.
That's good.
Any questions?
Any questions? No.
I
Good to
would
see
move
it.
that we acknowledge the receipt.
I'll second. Motion's been made by Commissioner Rippon, seconded by Commissioner Mays. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item, please.
Item K3, acknowledge receipt from Sheriff Hill, his request to award the bid for the courthouse entrance security, the SLF Project Fund 2021-14, to Smith's Detection. Smith's Detection was the only vendor that met all the specifications requested, and their price of $80,752.06 will be paid with these allocated ARPA SLFRF funds.
Good morning, Commissioners. Danny Lottridge, Sheriff's Office. So these will replace the magnetometers and the x-ray machines at the front entrance and the east entrance to the courthouse. So I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions?
And Smith's was the only one that met all the qualifications.
All the specifications provided in the RFP is correct.
Do
Yeah.
these differ from the existing machines we're using?
They differ in the fact they're updated technology. The magnetometer, for example, will provide a temperature read of each person that goes through it.
Okay. What, I guess, so it looks like there were 5 bids on this, and this was the highest. I know that you said they were the only one that met all the specifications. What were some of the other ones missing? Do you know?
Primarily, it was the size.
Is it? Okay.
So if we would have gone with some of the other bids, we would have had to reconfigure the entrances on both the front and the east, so.
Okay. All right. Well, that's good enough for me. Yeah.
Chair, what will we do with the existing ones that we have?
So we will plan on keeping them as spares for backups, and then if there's any other county department or office that is in need of such equipment, then that equipment can be repurposed for those buildings.
Okay. Any other questions? All right, then I'll move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made by Commissioner Mays, seconded by Commissioner Cook. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Thank you, Major. Next item, please.
L, Commission number 1, consider appointment of a voting delegate and alternate for the annual Kansas Association of Counties Fall Conference to be held October 17, 18, and 19.
All right, so we have to appoint a voting delegate to the Kansas Association of Counties Conference for their annual meeting. I'm not going to be there the day that they're doing the voting, and so it's got to be one of you.
I'll be there that day.
Okay, so
Nominate Bill as the voting delegate, and then as the counselor's office, I would nominate Jim Crowell as the alternate.
okay, all right, and so we've got a motion by Commissioner Cook. I'll second that. Those in favor say aye. Opposed? Motion passes 3-0. Next item, please.
Item 5, public comment.
All right, we do have a person signed up for public comment, Henry McClure. Welcome.
Good morning,
Morning.
Henry McClure. How are y'all today? Cheers. I want to talk to you about the Planning Commission. And I want to talk to you about the Metropolitan Planning Commission. And I want to give you a real brief history. I was one of the members of the last Metropolitan Planning Commission that was appointed. You had city appointees and county appointees. And at that time, the Planning Commission, Robert Docking, had decided that as the federal funds were coming into the community, they needed to create a system of, who got the money. Did it go to the city or the county in communities like Shawnee County? So Docking created the MPO, and the Planning Commission at that time was the MPO. If you were a Metropolitan Planning Commission with county and city people on it, you were deemed qualified to be an MPO. And we got disbanded basically because the group got active of being an MPO. That we were actually the first group to ever have public comment, where you would set up, you'd set up a meeting, you'd have the plans, you'd have the capital improvement programs of both city and county, you'd have the engineering, the, all the pretty maps, and we were the first group to actually have public comment and public involvement. And it wasn't soon after that that we really got, we were disbanded faster than you could say Jack Robinson. I mean, boom. Because at the time, some of the people were more concerned about putting toilet seats in front of mayor's offices and hijinks like that, important stuff. So I come to you today to talk to you about putting the planning commissions back together. It's like we need to put the band back together. We really do. As a real estate, I'm coming on 43 years of real estate, and I still have to work. I got to get up every day and try to make some deals. And what I hear going on in the 3-mile radius, it's bone chilling. So what happens is projects that are out in the county, but yet in the 3-mile radius, have to come back to the city and go through their planning commission. And then what's really bad about it at that moment is the guy living, or the guy that has the project, or that's living in the real estate, he doesn't have a public official he can go lean on, because his county commissioner doesn't have any authority. And the city council guy, he didn't get a contribution from that guy, and he's not going to play ball. So if we want to grow our community and have some unity, I think the number one thing you could do today is put back the planning commissions. I think that sometimes we gotta let the little guy be involved. I was watching a city council meeting the other day, and to see Cody Foster, who's a part-time developer, who's probably our biggest developer in the city, you know, fortunately, he's got a day job, but when he basically says, you know, I'm tired, and I don't really want to develop in Topeka anymore, because it's just so difficult. And really what he said when I read through the lines was, you know, little guys like Henry McClure ain't got a shot. You know, it's so difficult. And it's almost like it's taken me, I don't know, 16 years or 15 years to come forward. But when you hear some of the rules and regulations they apply to people just on the fringe out in the 3-mile radius, I mean, strict regulations. They make the projects not feasible. And the influence of trying to create a market, you know, just doesn't work. So if we're gonna make it so difficult to get people to want to develop out on the fringe, and we're gonna force them downtown, well, that ain't playing anymore, because even the guy working downtown has said, you know what, enough's enough with your rules. So why don't we try to figure out how to get more people involved, hear from the little people out in the county, and let's have more public involvement with our planning. You're gonna have a very difficult item come up pretty soon here, is that TIP district for around the White Lakes area, and I pray that you guys support that. But what we need to do is we need to create a generic contract to where it's one size fits all for the developer. So we're not reinventing the agreement for every developer that walks forward, depending on what his last name is. And also, that's the same reason you want to put the planning commissions back together, because then it's more of, well, I don't mind that going on in my neighborhood, so I think maybe we could give that guy some concessions, or at least let the guy have his project, to where we're not forcing him to do things that you might have to do in the core of our community, because the fringe is different. So I'm urging you, I don't know what happened one day, you guys decided, you know, I wanna get elected to something so I can change something. You know, I think a guy could get elected on a one-note situation like the planning commission. I just think I would do better on this side of the fence than that side. So I just want you guys to consider putting together the planning commission. It will be best for Shawnee County. It will be best for developers. And ultimately, it will be best for our city. So I don't know if you have any questions about the history of, you know, if you think about it, I put together the highway system. I can't tell you who decided that we were going to govern the federal money that came in from the MPO. I do know Docking put it in place, and I could probably do a little history search of who busted us up. But it's time to put the band back together. Let's get this community unified, and it starts with planning ahead so that each guy doesn't walk into a minefield when he comes in with a project. So there can be more consistency in how we develop our community. So thank you for letting me air my grievances and having my moment. So thank you.
All right, thank you. Anyone else from the public wishing to speak today? Seeing none, next item, please.
Item 6, administrative communications.
Any administrative communications?
Tim Laurent, Parks and Recreation Department. I just want to take a moment to introduce Josh Mikey. Today, this is actually Josh's second week. He started with us last week. He's our new recreation superintendent. I'll turn it over to you, Josh.
Good morning, Commissioners. Josh Mikey, new Recreation Superintendent. I started last Monday. I've had the luxury of meeting all the staff, working my way through there, and I look forward to working with them as well as you guys. So, if you have any questions, be happy to answer.
All right, any questions? No?
Welcome. Thank you.
aboard.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other administrative communications? All right.
I have weed stuff, gentlemen. John Landon, Shawnee County
So
Weed
surprised by
Department.
that.
So last week's winner of the Johnson Grass giveaway for chemical and sprayer rental was Casey Moore. And so this week's weed is bindweed. And so if you will log on to Shawnee County website, take a picture of some Johnson grass, post it, hit like and share, and you could be the winner of some Venue herbicide and a weekend sprayer. So that's all I have.
All right,
Thank you.
go find that bindweed.
Good morning, Commissioners. Bill Sutton, Shawnee County Solid Waste. As the commission knows, and most everybody else, Shawnee County Solid Waste, we are pretty much the sole funder for Keep America Beautiful. And there has been a vacancy in the executive director position for the past couple months, and I am pleased today to introduce the new executive director for Keep America Beautiful, Ms. Brittany Stidham. And I look forward to working with Keep America Beautiful in the future. I turn it over to her.
Good morning, Commissioners. My name is Brittany Sidham. I'm just introducing myself. I'm 34. Was actually born and raised here in Topeka and moved away for a little bit. I do have about a 5-year background in social work. I took this position because I just love helping people, and it's going to be a permanent part-time work, but I will also partner with Mary Thomas. I actually was working with her, and that's how I came about this position, because we didn't want to see Keep America Beautiful, go away. So I stepped up and I said, Mary, I will help you keep this afloat. And so then I stepped into the position. I felt like I was fully qualified, and I just think that partnership between CRC as well is good for our whole community. So I'm very excited.
I would agree.
Thanks.
Great.
Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Anyone else? Commissioner Rippon?
Well, I volunteered for Garden Glow out at Old Prairie Town last Friday. And Tim, can you tell us some more of the details of Garden Glow, how long they're going to be out there? And
No. I don't actually know off the top of my head. I think I know that they, last weekend was the kickoff, and I think we've got, I'm sure we could be pulling it up right now, crack staff. But I know we've got at least a couple more weeks. But I will take a minute to just say how much we appreciate the volunteers out at Ward Mead, because this wouldn't happen without them. When we were meeting with staff last week, Josh and I, talking with John Bell and those folks, and just the sheer amount of work that goes into this is, I can't really stress how important those volunteers are. So Garden Glow is open 7 to 10 nightly through October 2nd. And there is a $5 per person admission fee, and the children under 5 are free. So, actually, I think that $5 is a donation, but anyway, come on out. So, thank you.
it's kind of magical.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's all I have.
All right. Commissioner Cook?
Well, Washburn had a great family day. It wasn't a win for the football team, but it was well attended and a lot of good community activity.
Yep, I had a chance to go to that as well. It was a lot of fun. I don't have anything else to add today, so next item, please.
Item 7, executive session.
We do not have a need for executive session today, so we'll be adjourned.